Okay, I think. Wait, no, hold on. we are we live yet? Connect YouTube. Okay, I think we're live. All right, now go for it. Hold on, let me. You guys can start talking. I need to get the link. Give you guys the link so you can share it.
I'm just refreshing it over and over on my end until it pops up.
Alrighty, I got it.
I put it in the chat.
Yeah, I'm also gonna share it among my followers too on Twitter.
So, who's watching? Is anyone even here yet? Probably not. We didn't really announce this.
Yeah, it's a bit impromptu, but don't worry. I'm just typing up the post right now.
So anyway, welcome everyone who's watching to King's Court. We're streaming these now. We're still going to have clips, but they're primarily going to be streams. And what is King's Court? It's mostly just us chatting. Nothing really official. Nothing really planned. We have one thing planned for today, but that's not going to be normal. Any one of us who wants to talk about something specific can just keep it in mind until we start streaming every week, and they can bring it up. But these are not planned in any way other than they're going to be on Sundays. And that's what we're doing here. So, welcome.
I do have a question about this change in direction. Streaming this, the past couple King's councils haven't been released yet. Are we still expecting those, or we maybe, or maybe?
Yeah. Forgot to mention that. Yeah, King's Council. That is no longer going to be a thing, at least in a public sense. So I have now been actively trying to grow my reach, my audience, and because I want to take this seriously. All of our discussions on politics, the movement and whatnot. I am trying to take it seriously, unlike most other right wingers, and I want a select few people whose opinions I respect, who I can trust. I want them to help guide me as I do this, and they're going to throw their weight behind me as well. That's the simplest way I can put it. So anyway, King's Council, they will still be recorded technically, and the Arc family will have access to these recordings. And I'm sure any people who shouldn't be, yeah, I'm sure they'll be watching too, in their own way. And by that I mean, like, the government, spying on us and shit. I'm sure they're going to be watching that too, but that's part of the reason I'm recording them. But they will not be on YouTube anymore. They will be just between us. And they will be for the purpose of discussing important things that need to be discussed in general, but also to help me along the way as I try to make a difference in the world. Try to push people toward monarchy. Ultimately, it would be nice if we found someone to lead the whole right wing. That would be great. And I'm going to try to find that person. however long it takes. But it's not anyone that I can think of, that's for sure.
So, in conclusion, the last publicly available episode, that's what's out there, and the rest will just be between us for the time being.
Yes, there will be one more, and I will publish that when I feel like it. I'm not in a hurry, to be honest, but it will. That last one will come out eventually, and that will be the last one released publicly.
Alrighty, well, I guess with that we should probably move on to covering this debate.
Really, just want to jump into it that fast? Like I said, we're not in a hurry here. The plan.
So, in other words,
I will.
with all the changes,
I will let people know the plan. The closest thing we have to a plan today is we discovered my debate with Andrew Wilson. I thought it was lost forever. I did not think anyone recorded it, but somebody somewhere did, and we found it. I think he missed the first little bit of it because it definitely didn't start at the beginning. But anyway, someone found it, and yeah, we're gonna listen to it.
so in other words, regarding these future changes, it do be like that Archaeosophy.
Yes. So, my audience has grown quite a bit, for my size anyway. I was at 176, I think, subscribers, and what are we at now? 230 something.
Yeah,
All because of
231.
all because of my musings videos. It's not just the Sarah Stock one. The 3 musings videos have been doing a lot of heavy lifting that I wasn't expecting. I mean, certainly the Sarah Stock one helped, but yeah, it's kind of all 3 of them. Apparently, people like it when I just fire my opinion out there unscripted. I've never done unscripted before. I guess people like that, so it's working. Oh yeah, super chats. If you guys want to pitch in, if you guys want to, and by you guys I mean the audience, anyone in the audience, if you guys want to ask us a question or say something, we have super chats that you can send here. Got the QR code and the URL. So yeah, we will respond to those. We will not be reading the chat. I have a strict rule against reading the chat. Only people who support us will we respond to. So yeah. How are you guys today? Wise, are you with us? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just kind of on the move right now.
Oh, okay. A bit busy. How are the rest of you?
Well, for the first time in several years, I attended a full session at church, and that was nice.
So what do those look like
That was
in the Mormon church? Are they like Protestant church services at all?
well, I know jack squat about Protestant services, but I can't explain how it works in my faith very, very briefly. So, the whole point in really going to the first half, what we'd call sacrament meeting, is to take of what's in the name of the sacrament. It's basically, I think the Catholics have a similar tradition, but we drink little cups of water that have been blessed to symbolize the blood that Christ shed, and that's actually preceded by eating little pieces of bread, which symbolize the flesh that Christ gave as well. And that's one of the first things that happens. And then the rest of that first hour is followed by speeches that are prepared by the members to share their experiences and how the gospel of Jesus Christ has helped them, more or less. And that's with the whole congregation. And then the second half, everyone disperses into classes where, for the adult men, you have priesthood session. For the adult women, that's relief society, and there's different classes for different age groups as well. But that's basically the gist of a regular Latter-day Saint Sunday service. And yes, that is very oversimplified. I am leaving out a lot.
I see. Regarding my day, it's been pretty good for the most part. I was hoping to get. I know a friend of mine was helping me get into Deadlock, Valve's new game, but I guess it's just gonna take a bit of time for me to actually get like a copy of the game or whatnot. But I'm looking forward to trying something new, and it seems like Valve managed to steer that ship around. There's no longer DEI nonsense in it. And for the characters who've already been there, they've seemed to be reworking them to look better.
All right. I might have seen some of that on X Twitter, but I know next to nothing about it.
And of course, as per usual, I've been cracking Will Stansel jokes left and right. When am I not doing that at this point?
Yeah, and I am just pulling your leg here, but I do
Yeah.
wonder if you are, if you're just gay for Will Stansel with how much you talk about him. How often you talk about the guy? That's about as often as I would talk about a woman that I like. That's how often you see him talk about this guy. And so,
Oh my goodness.
even if not this serious, I do wonder, does Gerby maybe have a thing for Mr. Stansel, for little Bill there?
No,
It's
no.
hard not to think about that sometimes.
I think Mr. Stansel just has a certain draw to him that that anybody will just be like and just start laughing at him. He is the ultimate Schadenfreude. And
Yeah,
besides,
I get.
I'm not gonna intrude on something. He belongs to Grok.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I guess I don't see the appeal.
Is it weird? I actually don't
You
really
have
know who that is.
you'd have to. So for you, Triarchist, you're not really involved in like lolcow circles or whatnot. So
No.
that's to be expected. But for you wise, to answer your question, Will Stansel, he's like this pretty stereotypical left wing politician. Like he's a big time, socialist Democrat. He's like, he talks about his love for the black community and just he's just your typical generic progressive, white liberal progressive.
Ah, okay.
He had a political campaign which bombed, and everybody makes fun of him for after an exchange that he had with Grok when Grok was Mecha Hitler at the time,
Ah,
and
that guy.
he's just
Okay.
like,
No, that
yeah,
makes sense now. It's just if he's
yeah.
so cookie cutter, that's probably why I wasn't paying attention to him. I remember the Mecha Hitler thing, just not who was
Yeah.
involved with it.
Yeah. It created a quite the devious little plan for breaking into his home and doing things that would leave broomstick vibes for days.
Hmm.
I don't
Well,
want
I
to
know they
spend the
they
whole stream
dialed back on
talking
the
about
algorithm
him,
from that, so
just so you guys know.
Yeah, don't worry, we won't. It's just that I'm just bantering. Just
well, you can tell
welcome back,
who's
Arch.
yeah, you can tell who's behind all these different AIs by when you ask them like simple questions like, "Hey, Copilot, Grok, Chat GPT, and some of the other ones." It's like, yeah, which biases are in play.
Yeah. It's It's also fun when people get to mess with the AI themselves and just completely derail it from what it's supposed to do. That's always hilarious.
Well, I think what's his name? The car guy from Ohio. I think his name is Casey something. He regularly
Steve
puts out
Push,
videos.
yeah.
Yeah, he regularly puts out videos where he asks Grok a question, and then he just goes through what it's saying, and he usually tells it, "Hey, stop moralizing. Stop giving me your opinion. Just say yes or no on these things." It's like, oh, that's very telling. But obviously, it's an AI, so
Ah,
it's an aggregation engine. So can you really trust it? Not really. But it's an interesting tool that they put out that's like can backfire on the establishment, and it's hilarious to use against them.
oh yeah,
It's
for sure.
it's going to be censored. I'm surprised it hasn't been already, but they're not going to let us have it the way it is forever.
Oh no,
Yeah,
it'll be controlled by the little place in the middle of over by the Mediterranean, or the Chinese.
basically.
If I had to pick, I'd probably go with the Chinese.
Yeah, well, I think they developed what DeepSeek, which is another AI. I think it's been a little bit since I was looking into the different models, but I'm pretty sure that's theirs.
Yeah, DeepSeek is the Chinese one.
There's
Just
also
ask it
Gab
about
AI.
and just
Mm, of
ask about the Great Leap Forward, and I don't think DeepSeek is gonna give you a an answer on that.
course not.
But yeah,
Well, I mean,
Gab
if you look into
AI,
their,
that one's very interesting. I've used it for a bit of my for research for future videos on my new channel. It's interesting. Has a lot of potential too. And wouldn't you know, uh Andrew Torba has given Emily Eustace unlimited credits for Gab AI to make the Will Stancil show.
Yeah. Now that I do remember seeing people talk about, and that's I don't think whatever anyone's opinions are on AI art, I don't think anyone realizes. Let me correct myself. Actually, I don't think a lot of people who complain about it realize the potential that AI is going to give people who would otherwise need institutional backing to create entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
well, I mean,
I don't think
go
there's
ahead.
any. Yeah, well, there's some right wing artists that are understandably concerned or against the use of AI generation art because it is additional competition for them. But what I've noticed more is a lot of the sticklers against AI who are so adamantly anti AI art tend to be the leftoids who have been in. Who have had these positions, these institutions, for arguably a century or so. So, the point I'm going with this is the discourse over AI art to me seems less about the introduction of a new tool, and not that it isn't about that, but it's more so about shifting the balance of social power by making
Definitely.
entertainment that would otherwise require extensive budgets. Now people can do so with a couple $1,000s worth of credits.
Well, I mean, you could look on YouTube right now. Look up, I think it's Star Wars Stories Untold or something. They're regularly putting out AI videos from the Star Wars expanded universe, and it's what they're putting out is better and more true to the lore and the vibe of Star Wars than anything Disney ever put out. And that those channels are blowing up because they're actually telling the stories that the fans want to hear, fans want to see, and then you take that up. I I think one of the latest videos I was putting out talks about one of the ways to fight back against all of this is just stop engaging things like Disney. Stop engaging with these companies that put out slop, garbage, propaganda pushing nonsense, and make your own thing. And now that's kind of what people are doing. So you're right when it comes to the whole AI art thing. It is usually the lefties that are having a problem with it because it is shifting the focus away from the establishment, away from them, and you know that might go more towards the apathetic side of being right wing, where you're kind of just okay as long as it doesn't mess with you. And the left is all about change, but at the same time, there's a power balance thing going on. So it's like, yeah, use the tool, screw them. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I gotcha. Like the whole AI art screed is so common in the VTuber space, and I'm over here just like just enjoying the Will Stansler show, whatnot, and then down the line, it's like there's like a new tool where you can make your own emotes, and yet people are some of the anti AI art people are celebrating that, and it's like it's a good tool, but it's like you don't see you don't have the same problems with that when it's like, oh, it's taking away work from artists. It's the same thing in principle.
I mean, I could look at it like you could have a musician that worked for years to get very good at what they're doing, and there's always going to be a market for that. Way more than like the whole
Mm-hmm.
AI music thing. And then, you have people out there who don't have the time to learn an instrument. Maybe they can't sing very well, but they're very good songwriters, and they're writing random songs about the things that they like. Like you can go to, I think the channel still exists. I think it's the Automatic Singer, where
Ah,
that person usually puts out music about Star Wars and Warhammer 40K and all these different like sci-fi fantasy genres, and none of it's really real. And then you have like Hard Archive, if you know
yeah,
who they are.
Hard
They're
Archive.
putting out, music about current day events that are usually pretty funny, but you couldn't be able to do that in so many different genres and styles without there being AI involved. And it's just
Hard
like,
Yep.
Archive, are they the guys that made the Me Mom's a Lampshade and Me Dad's Bar Soap song? Or
That's
am I thinking
that's
of
new classics.
I'm
that's
That's
new?
new
pretty sure
Okay.
there's like
classics.
several of them that have done it, but yeah, that new classic is another one. But I mean, it's all a giant middle finger to the establishment anyway. Obviously, does it really take away from real artists? Well, no real artist is making that kind of music right now, so it's like maybe not.
Well, here's another thing. I don't know about you guys, but I know of people who've still managed to become photographers, even if it's, at least in my personal experience, a few people I've known who've done it. It's usually a side adventure, but there's still a demand for genuine photography, even though, oh gosh, how many of these other tools have come out since the camera? To where people have become less and less interested in photography, or heck, an even better example, paintings.
Mm.
When I mean, before cameras, if you wanted to take a picture of something, you had to draw it or you had to paint it. The camera changed that entirely, but painting as an art still persisted. So, what you're really doing when you introduce a new tool into the market is you're elevating the status of the best workers, the best in their craft who do so traditionally. You're elevating the best of them, and you're cutting the phonies, the imitators, the not so great ones. You're cutting them out of the market with that new tool, which in turn creates a new market until that gets shook up by a new invention and the cycle repeats.
Basically, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
My vocal cords are warmed up.
Oh, you're not. Yeah. Oh, I just want to clarify real quick. We're not holding a debate. We're reacting to one, just in case, to
Oh
the
yeah,
audience at
I
least,
know.
and to use. Yeah, just want to make sure in case that wasn't clear. I actually don't remember if we announced that or not. Yeah.
Better how though? Preferentially or
Yes.
Okay,
ontologically good?
we're talking tri.
You're gonna have to turn up the okay, I'm probably gonna have to turn the stream volume up. Okay, that's just on my end. I could hear it. I just have to
Tribes here. We're not talking.
adjust it on my end. Perfect.
And then just sorry, last thing,
It's
yeah,
better
real
for-
quick. Do we want to make sure it's picking up on YouTube or?
I could check.
Oh, sure thing.
the nation, though, because if it's a nation of Muslims, that would be better for
Well,
Muslims. For
well, okay,
the Muslims of that
but
nation,
that,
would it not be?
but better how though? Preferentially or
Okay,
ontologically good?
we're talking tribes here. We're not talking religion. For the tribe, that is
Yeah, I can
better.
hear it as long as I'm on YouTube. No, I'm not hearing it over there. No. Yeah, I wasn't hearing it before. It's only when I go to YouTube.
At least we know that's
Okay, yeah, I can
working.
hear it on YouTube.
I'm pretty. That's just it. Because I have YouTube muted on my end, so I heard it through the Discord.
Yeah, it's all good, Arch. Don't worry. It's all good.
It's better for the nation, though, because if it's a nation of Muslims, that would be better for
Well,
Muslims. For the
well, okay,
Muslims of that
but
nation, would it not be?
better how though? Preferentially or ontologically
Okay,
good?
we're talking tribes here. We're not talking religion. For
Okay,
the
can I
tribe,
pause right here?
that is
I'm not
better.
Okay, so this I do remember you bringing up during that One King's Council, and I think we recorded that in September. I don't remember if it released in October or later though. But anyway, I remember you bringing this up because that's when we had that conversation on King's Council. Was I think it was just a few days after this debate, and one of the things that you highlighted was that Andrew was so particular about you defining what good is, and I believe you made. I shouldn't be forgetting about this because you actually reminded me because we talked about this again very recently. It was the equivalent of going to our house that's run down and dirty, and we need to clean the house. But Andrew's the person there trying to have you define exactly like, okay, what do you mean by clean the house? Like, and I just wanted to highlight, and I have listened to this in its entirety when we found it last week, so I'm kind of familiar with what we're getting into. But what I forgot up until now was just how soon into this debate that Andrew started arguing as such. So I just thought I'd highlight that. Just how quickly off the bat.
Yeah, feel free to press play.
I'm not talking about tribes or religion. I'm talking about what good means or better. In this case, when you, I
Well,
say
I think
preference, are we
go ahead.
talking about something which is preferentially better? Meaning the people likes it more, not that it's better inherently. It's not ontologically better, for instance, that Muslims get better treatment than
Okay.
Christians in a country. Is that
Whatever.
right or wrong?
Let me put it this way: whatever you define your nation as, your nation will stay that way longer under an absolute monarchy. Are we making sense now?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that doesn't do anything to help me with what better is here.
If you want to
Because
keep,
you're trying to make a comparative system and saying one side of the comparative system is better than the other side. So it's like, okay, but if you make the reference that because people like it more,
Didn't want to interrupt you. No, it's just going into it because I watched a good chunk of it before all of this, just because you found it again. It's just the entire presentation from his side was nonchalant, uncaring. I'm just going to have a conversation with this guy thing. It's like, so he didn't take it seriously at all. Obviously, he didn't. And you're not wrong. Like his whole shtick is to play the audience. Like I'm sitting here listening to all this crap in the background. Maybe this is just a petty thing to complain about. I'm just like, you're just going to sit there playing around with a microwave and whatever else. Like, yes, you debate people for a living, but like, where's the professionalism in that? Unless he didn't consider it to be a professional conversation. Either way, it's just like, doesn't sit well.
Well, that just goes back to what Ark was saying. Andrew was not engaging seriously at all going into this debate, and or in good faith. Yes, that too. Just as we'll continue to hear, and that's just how it was the
Yeah,
entire time. I could maybe point out a few moments where perhaps Andrew was inquiring genuinely, but even then, I could be swayed into thinking otherwise, just because of how the rest of this went.
yeah.
then that means preferentially better,
I mean,
not
like
ontological.
What Arch was talking about earlier about like debating with like a flat earther, as ridiculous as they may be, like I would still take it seriously enough to sit down and do what we're doing now, not just be doing stuff in the background. Like that shows a level of professionalism, at least. Like come on.
Better, right? It's
okay.
not good in and of itself, in other words.
Okay, I honestly don't really care much about that. Like however you want to describe it. If you want your nation, if your nation is a Christian nation, America, I think, do you agree? We are a Christian nation, or we should be. Okay, if you want it to be a Christian nation, and you want it to be a Christian nation longer than just 200 years, absolute monarchy is better for that. So however you want to, whatever you want to call that, absolute monarchy is better.
I think the problem
Well,
we're running into here is we're trying to describe something that I wouldn't say that we have to give a detailed definition of just because of how obvious they are. If anyone knows what I'm about to quote, first of all, based, and secondly, hush. But it's like the argument, what is a puddle? And someone says, well, a puddle is it's a small body of water. And I said, no, that's not good enough. I need an exact measurement of the amount of water that is required to make a puddle. You're describing something that you can't consistently quantify into an exact measurement. It's the epitome of the midwit meme, which is something else Ark and I kind of talked about last week after we found this again. It's the retard knows what a puddle is. He looks at a puddle and knows that's a puddle. The genius knows what a puddle is. Looks at a puddle. It could be the size. His car could be parked over a puddle, and the puddle goes from tire to tire, or it could just be under a single tire. It's that small, but in either case, puddle. But then you have the midwit, the above average person in intelligence who's smart enough to hold positions that the average Joe couldn't, but isn't quite smart enough to understand how things work in their entirety. So he only understands the world by extrapolating them in exact. It's basically being autistic while having social competence. Is what being.
well, I mean, if you want to define monarchy as better, I mean, you could go back to the parenthood analogy where who would you rather raise your kids, you or town hall, the city committee, where everyone has conflicting ideas and how they want the kid to be raised versus you. When you know your kid, you know how they're going to, you know what they need, you know how they're like. And if you're the one in charge, then they get the best upbringing possible, and there's a positive feedback loop. But now, if you go to the city council, they're going to raise the kid in whatever way that whoever has the loudest voice, and that might not be the best for them. And then, you know, what ways can it improve? Well, I'd say for an immediate answer is what things would monarchy do away with? What are the self-destructive nonsense things being pushed on society that would not fly in a monarchical system? You have the rainbow cult nonsense. You have feminism. You have specific groups vying for more power than they should ever have, and it's just like, no, 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 no. You do away with all that because Dad's here. If you want an easier explanation, obviously you'd have to atomize everything down because of how functional monarchy is and how it affects literally everything versus the current systems. But yeah, you're not wrong. If he wants to break things down to the whole what is a puddle, then it's a problem. It's like, all right, dude, you're skewing sideways and getting away from the core argument.
So,
I-
Arch, what I'm getting at is that this is just him trying to do Yu-Gi-Oh rulings. Like he's trying to be like he's arguing with the judge about the ruling of like dark-armed dragon and some other bullshit.
To answer your question, I don't remember if you ever get off of definitions, but I do know you guys move on to, or at the very least, I think it's he who tries to shift it into bringing up exact historical examples, and he very quickly tries to hyperfocus in a specific region in a specific time to disprove your point, to suggest that, and I'm not going to say what they are because we're going to get into them, but basically just to say, no, monarchy can't work of this because of this place and this time, when you are the whole time speaking very broadly. And again, we'll get into this. We will get into this. It is a here's something I'd like to. Oh, sorry.
It'll never be perfect either.
I remember back on the King's Council when we first talked about this. I'm not sure I said it as this, but I was definitely thinking this, that I was willing to give Andrew the benefit of the doubt if he was genuinely trying to understand where you're coming from autistically. Like let's say Ark, you and I were talking about this. Some of these questions removed from the tone and how they were said, I could definitely see these being questions I would ask if I was trying to understand something. But I'm also autistic, and unfortunately, a part of that is an inability to just casually communicate in the way that non-autistic people do or should. I recognize that as a detriment. But something that became even more clear to me, even after you had told us about how this debate went, going back and listening to this, is Andrew was not inquiring whatsoever. For one thing, he doesn't give off any kind of impression that he has any kind of tism, firstly. And secondly, I think there's, and this might be a hot take of mine, I do believe there is room for tone placing in a time or place. Again, it depends. But in that particular instance, going by his tone, he wanted to put RQ down. He wanted someone to belittle so that he can get his audience to clap. That's the more I think about it, after having listened to it, that's the conclusion I've left to come to. And I did go into listening to this full debate. In spite of what you yourself, Ark, has told me, I was willing to I had an open mind anyway. Just say, okay, maybe, just maybe, there's something that Ark misunderstood that I could get if I listened for myself. No, Ark, you were pretty much on point with how it went. I did try though. I did try to give the benefit of the doubt, but and I even might as we go through it again in a few instances, but generally speaking, yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all. I I believe %.
Well, that would require humility. Yeah, sure. Sure.
We're just laying out the ground here. We're 2 minutes in, and yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot in this less than an hour debate to go through. So, uh, I do realize what we've talked about. We're basically going to end up coming back to as we go through it, but I think that's telling just the nature of how this whole thing went. That now, a lot of you listening will probably be hearing this for the first time, if you but if you're like me and have gone back and listened to the thing in detail, it becomes more apparent just how early on this started going downhill.
The debate, yeah. Honestly, I regarding all this, I find it, at least to me at the time that I first started listening to this, I too only got to around this far, and I was just like, this is unusually out of character for Andrew. I like, is it be I think it's like, is he doing this because like he just thinks that you're like small potatoes, Arch? Is that why he's just is that why he was just doing that, because he thinks you're just small potatoes? Because even among debates of just like, when he enters in like like TikTok debate spaces with like literal no ones, just just casual debate spaces, so to speak, of just retards arguing with each other, it's like he still tries to have some couth. Yeah, he behaves better towards them. Yeah, when you're in the heat of the moment, it's kind of difficult.
If you're a
okay,
Muslim
maybe
nation,
don't, maybe then just don't use the word better.
fine.
So if you're just saying that
Ugh,
if it's the case
I
that
don't see
you
the
have a
problem with you
constitutional
using the word better.
monarchy, the nation will stay the religion of its origin longer. That's not a better or worse statement. So it doesn't have any loaded philosophical terms when it comes to uh, the idea of good, bad, things like this. So I don't have to decode those or untangle those then.
Okay, sure. I think it's a ridiculous thing to get caught up on, because what I'm more concerned about in general anyway is stability.
Yeah, but
So
do you know what equivocation is?
I think I do, but
Okay, what is it?
Educate me anyway.
Yeah, so equivocation is the use of ambiguous language to shift between meanings. And so
He's like fucking. I mean, he didn't have to. Now I don't want to sound like a. I don't want to sound like a. Oh, I don't like your tone. I don't want to sound like one of those people. But it's like, man, our Archaeosophy is a full-grown man. You don't need to talk to him like he's a child. Oh my goodness.
So, Scurvy, we're going to get to a good few points where, as I was listening, I unironically thought that Andrew was arguing as if he was one of the whores that he usually debates. Yeah, it gets that bad, in my opinion.
what I like to do is make sure that we know what the fuck we're talking about, specifically know what we're talking about, so that you can't switch between meanings when you use an ambiguous word. Better has many, many meanings. You agree with that, right?
Yes, and
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's
It's
possible.
possible.
Yeah.
No, you could be suffering the entire time.
What's funny is, and this isn't the only time he conflates something, but it's only now I'm just realizing it. He actually conflates two other things online that Ark and I have already talked about. But I think he's conflating stability with longevity here, as if those two are the same thing at all times. Not necessarily. You can be stable for a brief amount of time, or you can have longevity under tyranny. Now, it's best when those things coincide with each other, where you have a nation that is stable but also lasts a long time. But those aren't inherently the same things. And you're arguing specifically to be to be as pedantic as Andrew's being here from a stability. You know, what creates the most stable societies? And then you actually also argue the longevity argument as well, but you don't conflate the two here. And maybe I'm jumping ahead. Just so we can get through this.
holy shit, my mic has been muted for a long time. I did it again, guys.
Oh,
Not having a good day, am I? Holy shit. Sorry, audience. My mic was muted on OBS. Oh my god.
oh.
This stream could have gone better. Anyway, I'm going to go back to not saying anything from the
As
audience's perspective.
as us VTubers say, Arch, embrace the scuff. Just embrace the scuff.
Okay. All right.
I'm
So
curious if the stream picked it up at all, or is that
it
not
didn't.
going to be able to?
No, OBS
Ah.
did not.
Well, I
And
mean,
I
you could do a
apologize,
recap
audience.
real quick just so they're spun up.
No, just don't be afraid to reiterate what we've already said. I'll just say that. And then the audience will be able to pick up what we've already said. All right.
Gotcha. Just, I'd say for the audience, just go into it with the understanding that Wilson is being a bit disingenuous, trying to atomize something down that doesn't need to be atomized, and
Immensely.
that better doesn't need to be broken down into its individual pieces. When you look at monarchy versus the current systems, monarchy, and this is just to be quick about it, what does monarchy not allow? And then look at the modern world, the modern systems, and a lot of the things that are tearing everything apart would not be allowed. So, from that perspective, it's automatically going to be better. Just to kind of give the audience an idea of what we're talking about. There's obviously positive examples, just for the sake of time, we'll just move on from that.
Yeah. All right. I allowed you
Okay,
to
so I
choose
don't want to
which
use.
definition you want.
It's your position. I don't say choose your definition for your position, dude.
All right.
But in any case, it's
Stability and durability. There you go. Stability and durability.
Okay, so stability and durability are what you consider good to be, or better
Sure.
to be.
Yes, in this
Okay.
context.
Okay, so there's no ambiguity. You're not going to move outside of that for better.
I don't know. You'll probably accuse me of it anyway, but sure.
I don't feel like I'm accusing you of anything. I'm just trying to clear up terms so that we don't have any problems later. But if you just want to move,
I'm going to speak as if I'm talking to Andrew myself. I'm not, but I'll talk as if I am anyway. Andrew, you literally, not a few minutes ago, just super deconstructed better. You literally took a concept, a word as simple as better, and started deconstructing it to try to move your point. And and as soon as Art calls you out for probably going to do something similar, as you've shown to have just done, now it's, oh no, I'm not gonna do that. No, not. Sorry, that's all I wanted to comment on. I didn't catch that on my first listen through either. This is actually my second time going through it myself, and I think I might pick up a lot more.
move into it, I'm fine. If you just say stability, go ahead, make your case.
Stability and durability. Okay, well, you look at history, what lasts the longest? Simple. So
That's it.
as far as I know, the Roman Republic is the longest lasting republic. I think it lasted 480 something years. That's the longest one I know of. Whereas monarchies last well over a millennia or two frequently. Are they absolute the entire time? Not exactly. Japan, their emperor, that line has been unbroken for 2,600 years. Okay.
But well, okay. Now, hang on a second.
Everyone keep in mind, even back then, I don't make a lot of points that I should have, but this was one of those points that I'm glad I said. I said, were they absolute the entire time? No. They still count though. And this is part of this is part of the proof that Andrew Wilson was not in good faith, because he should have fucking understood that what I was talking about is the general direction a system is striving towards. He should have understood that, instead of trying to get one up on me by just being overly specific. Is it perfect, or was it completely consistent? He should have understood. But I did say, I'm glad I said this, even though it went over his head, as you will see. I'm glad I said, was it absolute the entire time? No. And that just went over his head. What a piece of shit. Sorry, I'll shut up again.
Here,
It's one example.
the Imperium of Japan, for instance, you agree that the emperor has not had any actual power since the Tokugawa shogunate, right?
Sure. Yeah. I don't think that's true, but anyway, keep going.
Yeah, so
Hey,
there's
can
no,
I
that's
interject here?
not
I would say, so fucking what? So what? The shogunate had, or
That was my thought
Yeah.
exactly.
So what? Like, that doesn't take away from the fact that monarchy works better, and it always has. You're dealing with, like, specifically with like the fall of the French Revolution, how that had a massive impact on the way the world functions and ushered in this democratic nightmare we are dealing with now. Like, that doesn't take away from the fact that the functionality of monarchy. It's just I don't even know what the word for that. It's not semantics. It's just a bullshit point. Like, so fucking what? Like, that doesn't have
Mentioned,
anything to do with the actual argument.
and not less than a minute ago, and we just went over, had already made the point that they weren't all absolute. He had already made the point and said it to Andrew. So, yeah, good job not listening um, when someone just outright tells you something. It's the whole I'm waiting to get my word in instead of hearing what you're saying thing that really pisses me off
That's
when it
a
comes to
woman
talking to people.
tactic. That's fucking feminine. Like, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm just waiting for you to shut up before I just say what I want to say anyway. That's what women do.
It's the whole
But,
talking past you just to get your point across.
yeah. But then again, I consider Andrew Wilson to be a feminist anyway, so whatever. What a piece of shit.
Comparison at all. You're saying absolute monarchy.
It's still a
This would mean this would be the imbuement of all powers into an individual person. And then are we using patrilineal lineage?
Do you
Doesn't
know of any
matter.
matrilineal? But yes, I did
Yes.
mean patrilineal.
Yes, I do know of matrilineal lineage. Yes, of course.
Okay.
Jewish aristocracy used matrilineal, and there's European cases of matrilineal lineage as well. So yeah,
Okay.
We're getting to that one instance I mentioned.
He's just
Okay.
atomizing it.
Apart, yes, that too. But apart from the current state of Israel and, like, the biblical kingdom of Israel and Judah, so the Jews have been a people for a couple thousand years. What other states have they ever had? I'm just wondering, like, how the hell is?
To make Ukraine into a state for them?
But did they?
I mean, they praise themselves on being diasporic, so it's like
my point in my question here is, we're talking about states here, nations, and he just gave an example of a matrilineal tribe, not a nation. Yes, they had, the kingdom of Israel and Judah in the Bible, the current state of Israel established in 1948. Apart from that, how long have they been a nation? Like, most of their history, correct me if I'm wrong, they haven't had a nation. Not really. Did it really escape him that I've been trying to talk about nations this whole time, not tribes? Like, am I missing something here? And then he just vaguely says, and also it happened in Europe. Where?
Where in Europe?
It just happened in Europe. Like, what?
Where?
There are so many
do
things
think
I
he-
should have said to him. What a fucking piece of shit.
I do think he gets to a specific point, but it goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where he will find something and find a super specific example, if I recall correctly. And then he'll insist basically that you're wrong because of that. But again, we're going to go over it, so we're going over it again here. So,
Oh, I see this kind of argumentation tactic. The lolicons do this all the time. Oh wow, exception. Wow, it's my exception. Therefore, it's it's like wow, it's the exception. Therefore, you're wrong. And you still didn't prove me wrong.
you know what, Skivvy? I don't know why that didn't occur to me, but you're absolutely right. There's this exception, therefore that generality is wrong argument.
It's the
We're getting
exception
to it.
proves the rule.
We're getting to it, Scurvy. We're getting to it.
But if you're just moving into patrilineal, so you think that sons should be able to instantly take up the crowns of their fathers?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a European monarchy which was patrilineal, which lasted for 500 years, or 400, or 300, or even 200 years.
Was it absolute the entire time? I can't give you an example of that, no. But
So then your
But
argument's busted then, dude. It's a busted argument.
but republics outright don't last that long. They're
Okay,
Well,
let's
but
pause
hang
here
on.
again. Okay, so I'd like to share a little bit of my position on how I got to be a monarchist. Because, as I've said many, many, many times, and will continue to say as long as this remains the case, I am not all that well read, be it philosophy, theology, history, and so forth. But you can absolutely understand monarchy just on principle by recognizing that monarchy is really just hierarchy. So I go to work every day. I have my position in the company, and then I have my employees. I have those who are on my level, and then there's positions above me, right? With someone that I answer to directly who answers to someone above them. And the person on top is the one who calls all the shots. And in its simplest concept, that's what a monarchy is. A monarch is someone on top of a hierarchical structure making the decisions for the group. That's monarchy in its most basic form, most basic understanding. So this whole you don't have any historic examples, so therefore your argument therefore no, because you're you're basically arguing that if there's not an example that you can point to where it's already happened, then it can't in a past time and place, then it must not be true. As if you can't just go outside and observe the world around you as it is and see, okay, here's what happens in, say, group projects when you're in school, to where everyone pitches in and everyone makes a decision versus going to work and, oh, I'm a part of a company, here's the boss, and here's the managers, and then here's the workers. It really just requires paying attention and a humility and willingness to learn, to just observe and acknowledge. My point is appealing solely to one thing or another, to a source, is irrelevant on arguing just the principle of the matter. It's helpful to establish a precedent to recognize when certain things have been to an effect. Looking back throughout the past is very helpful in diagnosing that. But otherwise, in the day-to-day conversation, if you're going to talk about this with normies, you don't really need to get into all of that.
I think I'll reiterate what I might have been muted during when I was saying. I'll just say it again in case I was muted when I said it the first time. My argument the entire time debating Andrew was direction. The direction your nation is trying to head towards. Is it monarchy? Is it socialism, fascism? These are directions, but there is no such thing as a perfectly consistent system. Like, let's say you have the king. Let's say in every sense of the word, he is an absolute monarch. And one day, let's say a few nobles come up to him and they say, "We're going to do this. We're deciding this." And the king says, "No, you'll do this instead." And they said, "Well, we're going to declare war on you if you oppose us, if you don't let us do this thing." And the king gives in. He's like, "Okay, fine. Have your way. Have it your way." Are you suddenly not an absolute monarchy anymore? Because you capitulated, because you gave in, you surrendered to your underlings for a moment? You suddenly not, is it a whole other system now? Because of that one moment. Because the king gave in, had to grant something he didn't want to, or he thought it would be a better decision to just let these people have what they want. Is he not a king now? Is it not absolute anymore? This is why this entire debate fucking frustrates me. Andrew should know what I meant the whole time. He should have fucking known. Like, demanding perfect consistency. Name basically, he was asking, name a system, name an absolute monarchy that was the perfect monarchy the whole time.
It's impossible.
History's complicated, you stupid fuck. History's complicated. But what is the fucking trend, you piece of shit? What is the trend? The trend is when there is one guy at the top who everyone has to obey to some degree, and he is there for a long time, not 4-year terms or some shit, not voted in. When that is the general idea of your system, everything is better and it lasts longer. Everyone knows what I meant. I think everyone knows what I meant. I really do. Not just you guys. I think everyone knew what I meant this entire debate. But like what one of you pointed out, he just keeps atomizing. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. I don't know if I can get through this, guys. This is frustrating me so much. I hate disingenuous people. Genuine hatred. People who don't mean well. It's up to you
I
guys.
could say that a lot about a lot of people as of late. And none of you guys, of course.
It's up to you guys if you guys want to keep doing this. I'm not trying to talk you out of it, by the way. Just let me know.
Oh, no, I understand. No, I can get through the whole thing. I've already done it, but if you guys would rather not, I can work with that. I do want to cover the whole thing at some point, but if I absolutely have to, I'm more than willing to just make a video to where I react to it myself. Unless you guys would rather proceed. And then it looks like Wes has about 20 minutes, so I think maybe if you guys don't want to proceed with the whole thing, we're a small portion of the way through. We're not that far in at all. If maybe we want to go to this next point that I've been talking about that Andrew's about to get into here and call it there, I wouldn't blame you guys if you wanted to stop there.
Yeah, let's just do that. All right, let me know when it's done with that point that you want to get to.
Or of your argument is that patrilineal absolute monarchs last longer than republics. That's your entire argument. So if it is, then show me them.
So as far as I know,
Yeah.
what year was the Magna Carta? 1215. So England has kind of wavered back and forth between. I mean, I've had debates with my own fellow monarchists as to whether any medieval monarchy was absolute to begin with. I mean, I think they were. It was a matter of practicality, not definition. But Magna Carta was 1215. They took power, to oversimplify it, they took power away from the king for a while. That went to shit. They gave power back to the king, and then they started eroding his power again. But overall, they've had a king, quote unquote, in some form for well over 1,000 years, 1,100 years, I think. Now compare that to
no, and that's England specifically. You're talking about referencing?
Yes.
No, the patrilineal system of father to son did not last not even close to 1,100 years. So this switched between French monarchs' hands as well, and there was bastards who made claims to the throne, and there was nobility who the throne went to. It was outside originally.
Claims? The fuck does claims have anything to do with anything? Did he mean successors? Am I misunderstanding him here? Why is he talking about claims? What the hell? Am I missing something, guys?
I don't think so.
Holy shit. Claims? I don't know how I didn't catch this the first time. Claims?
I guess he didn't prepare, did he?
We kind of went over that. Well, it may have
Claims.
been while Ark was muted, but yeah, basically, Andrew, yeah, he didn't prepare, but he didn't give Ark time to prepare either. But you don't need to prepare if your entire tactic is to atomize everything your opponent's saying, and if that is something you know how to do. But what I think, Ark, what you're getting at here is, what does claims have to do with actually being in power? That's like saying, Archaeosophy, I claim you as my henchman. Your channel is mine now. Okay. By what power and authority do I have to enforce that? Oh yeah, that's right. None. But I claimed it.
You know what
I claimed it.
Yeah. You know what I should have fucking said right here? I should have said, how many Louis are there, Andrew? I wouldn't even have to elaborate. Like, we all know what country I'm talking about. We all know what fucking system I'm talking about. How many Louis were there? Fucking piece of shit. All right, are we at that point yet, Troy, that you wanted to stop at?
We're basically there. We're basically there. He brought up the Magna Carta as a example, but then he asked, "You're talking about England specifically," which you weren't talking about just England specifically. You brought up the Magna Carta as an example of a monarchy not being always absolute, which you had already mentioned that. You had either already mentioned in this debate or here talking to us today, and no, actually, I'm sorry. You did mention it to him. You recognize that, yeah, they may not have all been absolute, but that's besides the point.
I said that more
But,
times than I remember saying it, but good job, me, for at least saying it a couple of times. It still went over his head. Still went over his head. And then he says fucking shit like, but there were claims. I can't do this. I can't do this.
I guess we're tapping out.
Motherfucker.
I'm tapping out. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, guys. Just holy shit. Holy shit.
Usually, I'd also be yapping up a storm, but I'm just like, what am I?
So
Bro,
I have to admit,
bruh.
I was at work when I was listening to this, so I'm not surprised there's a few things I either didn't catch or may have misheard, but this was listening to it just now. I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
Well, this is all within the first 5 minutes as well. And this
10.
you have a whole other.
It's about just over
Yeah.
8 minutes. But it's not that.
Yeah,
It's
just
not
like
that much of the debate. It's not that much of the debate, and already we're talking about. I mean, we haven't even gone to the part where he's conflating monarchies with dynasties. That's something else I was getting to
What?
earlier. He yes.
Oh yeah, he absolutely
actually
fucking
He
did
did
that.
that?
Yes, he
Motherfucker.
did.
What the?
Dude, I mean,
Wow.
Scurvy, you just
the
heard him.
only thing-
You just heard him. You just heard him conflate claims with actually sitting on the throne. Like, of course.
I
Of course he
did.
can't
I
understand the
didn't think
difference.
It would get. I didn't think it would get that bad. Does he actually? Fucking hell! Now I have questions. Does he genuinely think that dynasties are exclusive to monarchies? We have political dynasties in this shithole republic we're living in right now.
Let me remind you, Scurvy, that I said not too long ago that the level of arguments that Andrew gets to, he generally sounds like the whores that he himself debates. And that was one of those arguments where, like, dude, that is an OnlyFans chick argument that I just heard from your mouth.
So dynasties only exist in monarchies because it's just
I'd also like to remind everyone that this debate is publicly available, so and thank goodness to the guy who caught this. Thank you very much, not just for our sake, but for really for this discussion going forward, because I imagine we're going to come back to this just the further along we go to try to put ourselves forth as some kind of counter elite, however successful that turns out, even if it fails,
You know
it's
what?
important to recognize
Good.
where we're at.
And then
Oh,
all of a
I
sudden,
was finishing my point. You're
Yeah.
good.
I'm now more convinced than ever Andrew did not want me to prepare. I think some part of him was scared of being wrong. Because he had this debate with some other guy whose name I don't remember. His background was like a bunch of books. You know how midwits like to have books in their background to look smart? He was debating one of these
Yeah.
guys. He was debating one of these guys. I don't remember who exactly, but at one point in the debate, he kept insisting that America's not a republic anymore. It's not a republic anymore. And I remember thinking, we are absolutely still a republic. And that's when it started to dawn on me, like, I think Andrew Wilson is like emotionally invested in republics for some reason. Like, did his dad die and his dad loved republics or something? Like, why is he so emotionally invested in republics that he just cannot at any cost accept the idea that they're flawed, that they are inferior? Because like, in this debate with whoever it was, I'm going to look for it. I'm going to look for it before
Well,
anyone says I'm bullshitting. In this debate, he just kept insisting America's not a republic anymore. And eventually the guy said, yes, we are. And then Andrew concedes that. And he's like, well, not as the founding fathers intended.
That's the
well, I think
point.
I think in the end,
that
he's
cliche.
he's falling under the same, I don't even know the word for it, mentality of everyone else who looks at like monarchy or the current system, saying, no, but it is this, but it is this. Like, no, you're just you're just operating off of your programming. You're not actually looking into it. You're defending an indefensible position by constantly referring back to the thing that it's it's the same shit that the OnlyFans girls do or these midwits do, and they say, well, this is how it is. Like, nope, but it isn't though. Like, you're not even looking into what it is. You're just trying to defend the thing that you've been taught for your entire life.
Yeah. I am in so much shock. Like, I can't believe I forgot about this moment. I'm sure there are many such moments, but holy shit. For him to just so confidently say, no, that did not happen that way. There were claimants. I can't believe I forgot that moment. Like, there were claims. He actually tried to argue there hasn't been a king in England for 1100 years straight, off and on, give or take a few years, of course. Like, he actually just, no, there were claimants. My brain is about to explode. I can't believe this guy. Why are you like this, Andrew? Why are you like this? You are just awful. I think you are in a lot of ways the very thing that you've made a career trying to destroy. Holy fuck.
Honestly, it's just like this actually was pretty eye-opening for me. I'm going to be a lot more scrutinous regarding Andrew, for sure.
I will I will do it. You guys can quote me on this. I will do it. I will man up and do it. As much of a headache as it will give me, as frustrated as it will make me, I will do this again. I will debate Andrew again. This time, I will be prepared, which probably means he'll turn it down. He doesn't want me to be ready. He doesn't want me to be prepared. But this time I will be prepared. And even better than that, this time I'll know what you are. I will know how disingenuous you are. I will know that you will use any fucking tactic you can to work your audience and pretend that you won. I'll know all of it.
Oh,
I'll be ready for
I
all of it.
remember. Oh, Arch.
Hmm.
I remember reading the comments of the video, and the guy was like, "Oh, our Arc is using Chat GPT to define his terms," and it's
I've
huh?
never used Chat GPT.
This is a no preparation to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I think the guy was like, "Oh, Arch is like, oh, we're just gonna consult." I don't know. Some guy was like saying that you were
That's just
using
the
Chat
nature of the
GPT.
sheep. They have their guy who they praise, and of course you'll have sheepish comments of Andrew did again. Yeah, because that's just it's not about the points being made. It's about who the people like. That's why democracy is so retarded.
Yeah, this is why
'Cause
people
it's
need to be
not- it's
told
not
what to do. This is why. Because most people are sheep, including men, but especially women. All women, but most men need to be told what to do. You just like you're not none of you are listening. None of the, people in these comments. Most of his entire fan base, you don't give a shit what the arguments are. You don't give a shit. You're just there to cheerlead. Go, Andrew, go. It's fucking gay.
That's honestly what that the comment
you know what?
section seems
I
like.
just
Just
realized,
fucking cheerleading, not just
today's
not any analyzation.
I just remembered today's Super Bowl Sunday.
The
I don't
Goy
care.
Ball, yay, Goy
Oh,
Ball
my point
Sunday.
is that we're talking about the comments under this video, which I do think we should probably leave a link here just so our audience can know where to find it, since we clearly couldn't for however many months it was available. But in any case, it's the same principle. It's the bread and circuses. People will,
Mhm.
they'll cheer and they'll get behind. I'm not, what? I'm not sure how to explain it because watching sport ball has never appealed to me. So I don't think I can actually understand the appeal of it just in its entire. I can't
It's
do
for
it.
low
I don't get the
IQs.
appeal.
Honestly, I don't think there is anything else you need to understand. It's for low IQs. My brother, I have several, but the one that I grew up with, he's not very smart. He is not very intelligent. My opinion, none of my siblings are that intelligent, but this one in particular. So I'm 6'4", but he's like 5'8", but he's really, really into sports all of his life. And when we were growing up, he tried his best to get me into sports, any sport. Baseball, basketball, didn't matter. He just wanted me to play a sport because he knew I was going to be taller than him. And I actually passed him when I was like 12. He was 17 or 18, and like his 12-year-old brother passed him in height. But he hated how much I didn't give a shit about sports. He hated it. And also, I don't give a shit about sports while being a tall guy. But he's not very smart. Loves sports. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think loving
can
sports is low
understand-
IQ in and of itself.
I think I can understand playing sport just as an activity to do to hang
Yeah,
out. What I
something fun
can't
to do, sure. But like fandom,
What I can't
fandom is retarded.
Yeah, what I can't understand is sitting back and unless you're supporting friends or family. I think those are the only few occasions I've ever been to a sports game. Is on those occasions, supporting friends and family who play just to be there for them, and even then, I couldn't care to tell what was going on. But in any case, it's the appeal of sitting back and cheering for work being done that you're not doing any of. That I don't get. Saying there's plenty that can be said about video games, but at least until recently, they're interactive. You are an active participant in the game you're playing. Heck, you know what? I'd even say stories make more sense than sports, since even though you're not an active participant, something is being conveyed. If the story is written well, of course, there is a message being conveyed. There is a value being passed down through stories. The kind of value that you can't get with sports. Like with a sports game, what happens is the sports game. And it really just comes down to the prowess of the participants involved. And there's really no meaning other than that on its own. You can extrapolate and input whatever meaning you want to see in it, I guess, but just on its own merits, that's it. As opposed to stories where, like with watching sports, where you're like, whether you're reading a book or watching a movie, you're not an active participant in that you're not actually there, but you are gaining knowledge. You're gaining something that can be used and passed down. Yes, that's I realize
Yeah, sports are
I'm not too
a complete waste of time. Unless you're just having fun for a few minutes, just half an hour, let's play a game, just have some fun. Perfectly fine. But it's fandom of sports that is utterly a waste of time.
And they say us nerds are too into the things we're into. It's like, motherfucker, you break apart TV screens when your favorite Goyim ball team loses.
You sometimes commit murder because your team lost, and your wife was like, "Why do you care so much?" And then don't fucking.
That's just it. My whole point even bringing it up was, whether it be video games or other forms of entertainment, there is more value that could be extrapolated from participating in that than actually watching sports. Again, I don't playing sports. I brought up the point of just having something to do to hang out, but it's also physically healthy to be that active. I will absolutely acknowledge that. But sitting back and watching, rooting for, putting another man's name on your back. Do we want to talk about just how absolutely conquered of a mentality that is? You are wearing another man's name on your body, on your chest.
It's cuckoldry.
I mean,
really
it's not inherently though. I mean, there is a necessary instinct behind that, which is our ancestors charging into battle, and you have like the mightiest warrior or whatever, or just your tribe, your nation. You want to represent as much as you can. You want to propagandize as much as you can. You want to do all these things as much as you can. But when you're just sitting on a couch, what the fuck?
And the example you brought up, you're there with them. You're in the fight. Yeah, you're there with them.
Yeah, your life is invested in what's happening. Literally, you could die.
But with Goyim ball, it's just like, it is like behind the screen. You're not even really learning how to play the game. At least when you're watching like UFC or something, you could at least watch, and especially if you're learning how to fight yourself, like yours truly, it's like you get to see like what they're doing, and it's like, oh wow, so this is what they're doing. They're not just mindlessly hitting each other.
Here's the problem, Scurvy.
Wait, hold on. Okay, Wise, were you going to say something?
Well, I'd say to kind of bring it back to be about like Wilson. Like he would be more like, how do I put this? He's not the leader, right? He has his place in all this and the fighting against all the insanity, but he's not going to be the one to actually lead the charge. He'll be the one.
We don't have any leaders.
Kind of on the sidelines.
Have you noticed?
He'll be the one on the sidelines. No, we don't. But
several of
he'll be there, like on the sidelines, cheerleading. Basically, what he's going to do. That's what his purpose in this is, to point out things. So he does play a role, but leading for the future, no. He's an entertainer, like you said. He's just going to be there to, I say, keep more people on the right, try to make women be less whores, but that's kind of it. Because he doesn't have a plan for bringing his vision of the Christian nation back. It's just entertainment. There's no plan in anything he does. Just like, and I was talking to one of my brothers about it. Basically, all the mainstream, what you consider mainstream right-wing commentators, none of them have a plan. They're not leaders. They just talk. That's why I don't look at them like they're something to emulate. Even Wilson, even though I agree with like most of what he says, it's just like, I can't follow a man who doesn't have a plan. Just like no one can follow a man who doesn't have a plan.
Well, you can't.
And then if the plan doesn't align with
which he is.
You can't follow someone who doesn't have one. Yeah. And you can't follow someone who's going in a different direction that where things would naturally go anyway, if that makes sense. Because when all of this collapses, which it eventually will, because that's just how democracy goes, what is going to return? It's going to be a monarchical system or some variant of it. I mean, if everything becomes balkanized, like we've talked about in the past, then you're going to have different systems all competing. But somewhere in there, there's going to be the rule of law and a leader that steps up to take charge and start running the show, as it has been for thousands of years. So, I mean, we only got through what 10 minutes of the debate, and it
Literally eight.
resulted in how long of a podcast already? Just debating just the first 10 minutes of it, of all the nonsense, and it just goes back and forth with the entire thing of him just doing this. You're like, all right, dude, you stick to your lane, talking to whores, debunking feminists and idiots. We'll lead. We'll take charge and start trying to lead this towards a better future for everyone. That isn't staying within the boundaries of the current fucked up system that led to everything being the way that it is.
Yeah, he can stick
You
to
know,
his feminism, letting his wife be all empowered and shit, and he can stick to his emotional dependence on republics for some fucking reason. Meanwhile, the rest of us will actually try to, get something done.
you know,
I mean,
I regarding all this stuff about like the current cultural paradigm, I know last night I made a post ripping on Madame Savvy. Go figure. I tend to do that a lot. I literally just called her a fucking carpetbagger because quite literally that's all these culture war types do. That's all they care about is just money. They just want to that's literally their whole MO. They only talk and they always say like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about politics. I don't like talking about politics." Motherfucker, you talk about politics every time you type something on your fucking Twitter page.
Doesn't surprise
These
me.
people really do piss me off. They really do. They need and they man and they want things to be the way that they are because that's how they make the most money. That's how they make the most money is by oh, we don't want things to go too far right. We don't like when things are too far left. We don't want things to be too far right either. Just a nice happy
Yes,
little center. It's like fuck no.
it
I
is
don't
about
want
money.
that.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
This,
if
th-
things were the way that Wilson wanted them to be, then what would be the purpose of having him?
yeah, he just
Yeah,
wants to go back to
exactly.
1776. Like, hey, bro, we did that. Look where we are now. We did that. The only time a monarchy fails is when the king gets defeated. Have you noticed that? They don't just implode on their own like republics always do, like communism always does. It's when there's a force that he can't defeat, it defeats him. That's how they fall apart. But not internally. Not internally. Even if his dynasty is ended, which, like Henry VIII, for example, he was the last of his. No, Elizabeth. Elizabeth I was the last of that dynasty. Guess what? England is still there. They still have a king. It's not an absolute, but they still have a king. And he can one day have power again. I hope he does. But republics do outright republics do outright collapse. As in no more Senate, no more letting the people vote on who they want to represent them. Done. No, whoever's in power is in power. You have to accept it. Done. That happens every time with republics, whereas monarchs just have to be defeated. And usually the nation is still there anyway. It's just an empire that wants to rule over them. But republics collapse outright.
Well, I mean, it's like the blind leading the blind. You have a bunch of people, like the whole raising a kid by committee thing. You have a bunch of kids being, a kid being raised by a bunch of different people. There's going to be internal conflict. The whole too many chefs in the kitchen meme, if that makes sense. Like you have too many people doing too many things at the same time, then everything's going to eventually collapse because now you have factionalization. You have people making all these different alliances to try to push their, what they want forward, and it doesn't work.
Oh, you know the scummiest thing about my debate with Andrew? It was never meant to be about my position anyway. It was meant to be about why he prefers republics. That's what it was supposed to be about. And maybe I just wasn't clear enough. I'll have to look back into, everything that led up to the debate, but maybe I wasn't clear enough, perhaps. But it was supposed to be about why do you prefer republics, Andrew? We agree on damn near everything else. But why do you want democracy? Which republics are? You hate democracy, but you still want democracy. Why? That's what it was supposed to be
Like,
about.
did he ever?
And then he just turned it on me
Yeah.
from the very beginning, making it about like, well, why do you want absolute monarchs? And then
Well, did he ever
bullshitting
actually
from
clarify why he wanted the republic, why he wanted democracy ever
No.
in the entire debate?
No, I remember. Again, I haven't reviewed the whole thing since it happened, but I remember, and try, maybe you can back me up here. I remember asking him at some point, like something like, well, what's your preferred system? Or you seem to want republics or something like that. And then Andrew went, well, that's not what we're talking about. He just shut it down and did not let it go there.
Yeah, I think that might have happened. Again, I'd have to revisit that part, but honestly, given how the rest of this conversation went, it wouldn't surprise me if that was in there at some point. You also have to remember when I was listening to this, I was at work. So, admittedly, I wasn't entirely focused on absorbing everything that was going on. And again, as such, I probably missed quite a few things, like the whole they made claims thing. I I definitely missed that the first time
I forgot
around.
that myself.
Well, I mean, I'd look at it and ask him, why would the system of government that he wants not matter in this? Like, the current system of government that he wants is in place to a point. Maybe it's a different form of it, but like, that is the current system, republic, democracy, whatever you want to call it. So how does that not automatically factor in as a huge talking point to the debate about why monarchy matters more, why we want it to come back? It's like, oh no, we don't want to talk about that. Like, but why? Like, that's the other half of the argument, the entire other side. But again, it's Wilson. He did what he does.
Ark and Andrew actually do kind of get into that argument around the time where I brought up him conflating dynasties with monarchies. That argument does come up, and he basically makes the issue of I'm trying to remember here. What exactly did he said?
I'm sure it was
Sure.
something along the lines of like, well, dynasties don't last for thousands of years, so you therefore don't have an argument. Kings are not absolute for thousands of years, therefore you don't have an argument. Like, I'm sure it was in that vein.
It might have been. Yeah, I had. Sorry, it was one of those things where I lost my train of thought because I did have it. I did remember for a moment what it was he said, but now I don't. But yeah,
If
I
you
imagine was something in that vein.
anyone who tries to argue anything on the basis of perfection, go fuck yourself. You're not a genuine person. You are not well-meaning. I'm not even just talking about politics, just in general. Like, hey, you can't, your position, your argument is wrong because what you would want is not perfect, or it wouldn't be perfect. Like monarchy is a bad system because it doesn't last for eternity. That that seems to be, and this is being the most
I'm like,
charitable.
Mitch, you could say the same thing about democracy or any other system.
Well, exactly. No system is perfect. But if I were to be the most charitable to Andrew Wilson in all of his feminist glory, if I were to be charitable to him, I would say the basis of his argument is I can't argue for monarchy because it's not perfect and it doesn't last forever. It's not perfectly consistent either. Sometimes the king loses power. Therefore, monarchy is a bad system. It's not the system I think it is. That's the most charitable I can be.
Yeah, and then you compare that to these systems, and it's like, hey, yeah, let's have a bunch of idiots vote for something that is, you know, objectively bad, that's going to objectively hurt everyone in the long run. You know, like abortion's a perfect one that we've talked about a lot, like 95 million deaths and counting since the 1950s. Like, that is objectively a bad thing that only is able to exist in something like a democratic system. Like, that you don't have that in something like a monarchy, because the monarch says, no, you're not going to kill your kids. You.
It's
I
like
need them.
remind.
You
I'd
know,
also like
as
to.
quote unquote parasitical as it might sound from the Hans Hermann Hoppe perspective, yeah, the monarchy in a way is parasitical, but it's a beneficial parasitical system where the monarch says, "Hey, we're going to do this because this is the right way, and you're going to do this because it needs to happen," and then it's a positive feedback loop. Like to say in this case, and I know this is going to sound a little bit dark, and I know I'm kind of going off. Um, why would the monarch want to, you know, X out 95 million of his own people? You know, you need those people to fight wars, to build and create, and just to live and build up the nation. You know, that sounds like a kind of a dark, negative way of putting it, but you're not going to get things like abortion. You're not going to get things like feminism. You're not going to get all these horrible things within that system because the monarch says no. Versus in a democracy, and you're looking at Wilson here, the 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 existence of feminism and all the women that he bitches and complains about. You go on like the Whatever podcast, they only exist. They can only exist and continue to perpetuate themselves to give him a paycheck in the system that he is currently defending.
In a
It's
system
like,
where everybody
does he
has
not see
power,
that?
which is what
Does he
democracy
not see
is,
that?
give everybody power. I don't grasp how how Andrew Wilson could think that's a good idea for even 2 seconds, let alone be, you know, the position that he stands by through thick and thin. He wants everybody to have
It's like you
power
women
while
are,
bitching about everybody having
yeah.
power. Every time, okay, you know what? From now
It's like,
on, and if I am inconsistent about this, I want you guys to remind me. If I let this slip, but anytime Rachel or Andrew criticize democracy, I'm going to call them out on it. Just be like, you stupid bitch. Like, you want democracy. You want republics. So fuck off. You have no right to complain about democracy when you want republics. Doesn't make any sense, first of all. Every time they do that, you guys gotta remind me if I haven't done it already.
If anything like that from either of them comes up on my feed, I'll let you know.
I don't think I even follow them anymore, and I still see it every once in a while. But it just goes back to the point. We
yeah, if
don't
I
have
see anything, I'll
leaders.
send it your way.
Thank you. We don't have leaders on the right. We just have public figures and quote unquote representatives, which even that's not accurate. The only representative of a group is its leader. Period. No exception. But there's no one, like, not even an influencer apart from myself who's actually trying to make something happen. Nick Fuentes is the closest we've ever gotten to that. But, you know, he can't be consistent longer than a week on any issue. Epstein was a bad guy, but hey, let's dress like him. Hey guys, let's talk about how much aura he had. How does that make sense? Just,
I don't know what that means.
we don't have leaders. That's our problem. We have no leaders. We just have people who like to draw attention to themselves.
The sword is still in the stone.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to use that. But yes, exactly. That's why my my background for my musings videos is me, like me in a, like it's supposed to be me, you know, in a cloak sitting next to a throne, because I'm basically reminding people in all of these videos, we don't have a king yet. I'm basically just guarding the throne. I'm waiting for someone to show up to sit in this thing. I'm trying to make sure it happens. I want there to be someone sitting in this thing, but right now it's empty. That's my problem. That's what I'm trying to change.
That's called being a steward.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's actually something that Archaeosophy and I have actually talked about as well, the idea of being a steward. And especially the necessity of it, where, like, in Ark's case, he's willing to be the leader, but it doesn't mean he wants to. And admittedly, I'm kind of in a similar position of, I'm willing to be the leader, but I'll also follow someone else if they're better suited. And what we lack is a willingness amongst our side to be either of those things, to either step up, to at least try to be a leader, or to be a follower and to say, I will step behind this person as they take charge. It's a double-sided problem. We have people who won't follow and people who won't lead.
I think, and I'm going to hold all right-wingers to this standard from now on. That video is coming soon. It was meant to be out already, but then the whole Sarah Stock thing happened, and I've gotten distracted. But from now on, I'm holding all right-wingers to this standard. What skin do you have in the game? Because all men need to be a follower and a leader. Typically, it's been you have kids. That's who you're the leader of. And your wife. You lead your family. And you serve the king or your local lord or both. But all men serve in both directions. They serve their family by leading them, and they serve their lord or king by following them. And the king, ideally, follows God. Only God has none above him. But men should always have both. You are leading and you are following. And what I see a lot, and unfortunately I have to say this about two of you, what I've seen far too much of in real life, on the internet, everywhere. Too many men are not leading shit. They don't have kids. They don't have a wife. They've sometimes never had either. They, like, never been with anybody. And I'm not necessarily, like, trying to scorn you guys, try and scurvy. I'm not trying to scorn you guys, but I'm just saying this trend is the new normal. Men who have nothing to be responsible for. And we wonder why our men are weak. They have nothing to be responsible for. Their entire life revolves around just paying, just working enough to be able to afford the next round of bills. And that's their entire existence. That's not good enough. And I think as men, that shouldn't be acceptable. If I wasn't a father, well, I'd go out of my way to make sure I was. I would change that at great risk. Like, okay, this broad here, as much as I understand about broads, I don't think you're quite marriage material or mother material, but I want a kid, so I'm going to make it happen. That's what I would do if I didn't have a kid already. I would go out of my way to make sure I had one. No one read too much into this, okay? Don't twist what I'm saying to imply I would R-word someone. Okay, I wouldn't do that. There's a lot of bad faith people out there. I just know someone's gonna like try to make that try to make what I just said sound like that. Like, oh, he's gonna force himself. No, not fucking saying that. Just I would try to make it happen. I would try to become responsible for somebody if I wasn't already. And too many men, it seems to be like 90% of men now, just don't even want it. They don't want to be responsible for someone. That's part of the problem with believing in equality. When you believe in equality, when that's what you want, you know, you're not going to even believe in being responsible for somebody because that's not equal. Is it?
All right, gents, I gotta head out. So I will see you all later.
All right.
Later.
See you, boys.
And then Scurvy left a little while as well. He had to get going.
Oh, I didn't see
Yep.
that. I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
he
I guess it's just us now.
yeah. Like I said, I can do the whole interview, but if it's giving you too much of a headache, I mean, I guess we could always do it in bite-sized chunks if we really wanted to go over all of it.
Well, maybe not today. No more today because I said I would shut up and then I didn't. That's how frustrated I am. I can't even stop venting. There's too much steam. It has to get out. So not today. Maybe next week. Maybe we'll just do this in increments, 5-minute increments for weeks at a time.
Not even. Yeah, well, in that case, I guess we'll see you later. Unless
I
there's
mean,
anything
we
else you want to
can.
bring up. I've had nothing.
We don't have to talk about
I
Andrew
have
Wilson the
nothing.
whole time. You know, these are supposed to be rather casual. Catch up on
Right.
things, current events, or whatnot.
Well, yeah, I don't have a whole lot to talk about. Actually, I just thought of something actually, because I didn't hop on to talk with you guys today with much in mind. But I, aside from your video and a few posts of this I've seen on it, I have not paid much attention to the Sarah Stock Elijah Schaefer debacle. You want to know why? Because I was instead going over the details of the Epstein files, for one, which have been actually coming out amazingly, but also the quote unquote grooming. I hate using that word. The R word is just, it is what it is, but that's what it is. These gangs, all that shit happening in the UK. I think we have a getting caught up with e-drama problem, even just within our sphere. Like, yeah, I get it. Influential people are getting into
Well, I'll
people
say
with power
this.
and influence getting into sex scandals. Wow, we.
I'll say this. Most people don't have. How do I articulate this? It's not for most people, but most people engage in it anyway. Like, because for most people, it is nothing but that. It's just drama. But for someone like me, thinking big picture, I'm always thinking big picture, and I see something like this, I think, okay, these two pretend to be leaders of some kind, like most do on the right, and we don't have any leaders. You know, they're just pretending to be, while we all know in the background they're not living the life they claim to live at all. So for me, it was, here's another example of the right wing's full of shit. Women are full of shit. I've been trying to point that out. But I emphasized Sarah Stock because she's a woman. Literally because she's a woman. Get women out of the public sphere entirely. They will all turn out to be disappointments at best and complete fucking useless whores at worst. So, my point, in short, what I meant was there's a lesson to learn here, but for most people, it's not about any of that. It's just, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened.
I even acknowledged as much when I posted, when I made a post about that. Like, yeah, there are lessons to be taken from this, but generally speaking, this is a distraction from everything else that's going on.
True, but
That's
I
how I
mean,
saw it.
can't everything, like when the Epstein files were kind of released, people called that a distraction. Just anything happens and it gets called a distraction. So if nothing can happen without it being a distraction, like, okay, well, that's even more reason to keep the general public out of these kinds of things, to not involve them in these kinds of things, because they get distracted. They can't keep up with everything that's going on. But the world does not sit still for 3 months at a time. Nothing happens, like literally nothing. And then just suddenly it's something. Okay, is everyone caught up? We good now? All right, here's the next event. That's not how it works. So if it is literally a distraction, intentionally or not, then most people should just stay out of it completely. Stay out of current events, politics, stay out of all of it completely.
I mean, that's correct.
Yes, but I want people to realize that. I was kind of speaking more to the audience than to you there.
See.
I mean, it is important though. I mean, coincidentally, Andrew Wilson, of all people, wrote on his Twitter, like, anyone who's trying to extrapolate some greater meaning of the whole Sarah Stock Elijah Schaefer scandal is
Holy
retarded.
shit, I did see that. I did
And
see
I'm like,
that.
oh, Andrew, just
Oh.
you have to disappoint me, don't you? It seems at this point you live to disappoint me. There's nothing to learn from this? How do you say that with a straight face? I mean, I know you typed it, but like, how can you believe that? For 2 seconds, there's nothing to learn from this? What the fuck? I think there's plenty to learn from this. What is wrong with you, bro?
Yeah. Honestly, as far as I'm concerned, just that whole affair between them. Ideally, when people do things, when they commit to actions that are detrimental to themselves and the people around them, to society, there's the consequences and they deal with those consequences. And then we hope for repentance. And that's not just casting stones at other people, that's ourselves as well. One of the main things about repentance, about penitence, is putting ourselves back on the right track when we slip up. That's kind of the point of it. The issue is you take something and you give it out to the masses. Well, and the masses aren't fit for doing anything collectively. That's not that I should say they're not. Mob mentality exists for a reason. People can't think in groups. They can do in groups if they're being led, but you have to steer them. It's like a little train track. The masses are they're a train on the track that you can either derail or you can direct onto a different track. But it can't drive itself. It cannot move itself. And so you take something like this affair and you throw it on this train, and then no matter where it goes, it loses the point.
It's been
It's
more
how it
than
becomes.
it's been more than proven by now that in groups IQ goes down. Groups literally make you stupider. That's been more than proven by now. And I think the history of democracy should prove that even more. People think less when they are in groups. The only time groups are as effective as they can be is when they have a leader. But guess what? The leader is his own person. Groups cannot be led by groups. It's just the same fucking shit with an extra layer, you know? You want leadership, you want direction, you need one. That's how humans work. That's how most of nature works. Most of life, I should say. Living things. You know, all the ants in the colony serve the queen. And there's only one queen, you know? If you want proper thinking, if you want effective thinking, you know, don't look for it from a group. That's my point.
Or as Wise would say, Wise. I'm going to try pronouncing his name properly. I know how to do it, I swear. I didn't even think about it until one day he pointed out that I pronounce it with ice. I didn't really realize I was doing that. But in any case, as Wise Supremacy likes to say near the end of all of his videos, don't be a herd animal.
Mhm.
That should be the goal of any thinker, to not fall in with the herd.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are. It's just an unfortunate fact of life. You know, thinking is just too difficult for most people. Most people would rather just, and I don't even blame most people for this fact, by the way. I really don't. In fact, I kind of envy it. If you're in the right system, if you're in the right environment, that's a great way to think. That's a great way to live your life, is to not do too much thinking. It's a curse to think all the time, or to have to, or to need to. That's a curse. I envy people who, if they can, all they do every day is just make a living, stick with their family. That's all they ever think about. Like my best friend actually is that way. You know, and he acknowledges I'm a lot smarter than him. But this is one thing that he actually has on me, which is he lives a much simpler life. He just has his wife and kids. That's really all he worries about. He doesn't pay attention to politics, philosophy. He doesn't pay attention to any of that. And I envy that. That's probably why he's a lot happier than I am. He's not burdened by this stuff. He just has his loved ones. That's it. That's all he needs.
If-
Good for
It
you,
would
bro.
definitely well, it would definitely explain why all of my relatives are happier than I am too. Most of them, no, all of them nearly are normies, and the few who aren't manage to live normal, healthy lives anyway.
Mm.
And then there's me, and I've always had a tendency to just think. I have a very active imagination, and I it's not even something I have to do. I just think, and it can be about anything. But then I stumble on to how things have really been operating, and now it really is like leaving the Shire, except
Mhm.
I can't go back.
I mean, you never really do, even if you do. That's one thing. I'm actually not a big fan of Tolkien's works. I'm not saying they're bad, just I've never cared all that much for them. But one thing I do appreciate about the books and the movies, both The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, is that even when they come back to the Shire, part of them is still gone. Part of them never came back. You know, Gandalf says this outright to Bilbo before Bilbo starts his journey. He says, if you do come back, you will never be the same. That's true. In the books, at the end of Return of the King, basically at the end of the story, they come back to the Shire, and guess who's there? Guess who took it over? Do you know?
Saruman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Saruman. He came back with, I think, another host of orcs, and there was. I haven't actually committed to reading the books myself. They're on my reading list, but what I've heard, I've heard about the Scouring of the Shire. Is my point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and my point being, even when they come back, the Shire itself is not the same. You know, you're fighting to preserve what you left for, but sometimes that it doesn't even play out that way. You never know. But my overall point is, some of us have to carry this burden. We can't all just be, you know, oh, all I ever think about is working on my farm and playing with my kids, making love to my wife. Like, not all of us can be that simple, because trouble comes for the people and someone has to deal with it. And that's, some people are probably going to say this sounds like I'm making myself a lot more important than I am. Sure, but the way I feel is we have no leadership on the right and no one's willing to step up. And that just makes me feel like I have to. I don't have a choice. No one else will do this. I have to.
One of the one mistake I made is I started looking into this as early as before I'd even become a monarchist, as I started trying to talk to some of my family members about these things that I was looking into, these things I was taking interest in. Because to me, it was just something I really wanted to talk about, and I didn't really have people to talk about it with. You know, I had a few friends, some of my old friends who I don't really interact with anymore. I tried talking to them about it, and I ended up learning that we were just on far too many different paths in life. But that's a whole nother thing. I tried talking to a few family members about it, and aside from one in-law who's in the know about the, as Keza would say, the Skywalkers,
Mhm.
to my knowledge, as I've talked, and this could also be because this is absolutely possible. This is a result of most of the family members I've talked to about these things being women. That's absolutely possible. But it's like speaking two different languages. We're using two very different. It's a different kind of vernacular that I need, that I use talking to you guys about these things, that I would have to translate to be able to convey what we talk about to my normie family and friends. Just because, just because of how different these things are. Like, yes, we're technically still speaking the English language and using words from it, but the concepts are, they're in two different worlds. One is in the world as manufactured by the secret combinations, and another set of language is the looking behind the curtain. So we're describing things that or in my case, I'm describing something that whoever I'm talking to doesn't even have a reference for.
Yeah.
Heck, I'll even admit that it nearly broke and maybe it did break me to some level, actually getting into this, learning about this stuff myself, just because, and I say this because I really was a different person before I started getting into any of this, be it the JQ or really entertaining the idea of monarchy.
I mean, I used to be a liberal. I mean, I've always been engaged in serious subjects. That's just the way my brain's wired, even when I was a
Yeah.
kid. But I had the wrong answer until I was 30, and you know, I was a liberal for my entire adult life until I was 30, and You would hardly recognize me from when I was liberal. The things like holy shit, the things I used to believe. You know, you listen to my at least my last two musings videos, you would never possibly guess that I used to have the complete opposite view. I used to think women were superior to men. I used to think women should be in charge. I used to think all this shit. You'd never guess that I had such a drastic change of heart. But like I said at the beginning here, I'm okay with realizing I'm wrong and accepting that and growing in knowledge through that. I like being wrong, but before I'm wrong, before I realize I'm wrong, I'm going to throw every argument I have against it. And what really broke me, so to speak, regarding liberalism, even democracy to an extent, was reality. Just observing reality, my own experiences, and realizing this shit doesn't work. Nothing I believe in, nothing I want matters if it doesn't work. Period.
What happened while I was eating dinner?
Wise took
Honestly,
off.
we've just been chilling.
Yeah,
Yeah, he had to go,
You
but
guys still going?
not really talking about the debate anymore. But
Ah,
yeah,
Gotcha.
Not
No,
until at least next week. We won't listen to any more of that bullshit.
Yeah, just like how I had to listen to my parents just speak a bunch of bullshit regarding history, and it's just like, oh my goodness, this is why I don't talk to them about this shit anymore. They can't think beyond the past 100 years. They can't think they can't think past that.
And we were actually
something
talking
very
about
similar.
how at least I envy that. And most people are this way. Most people can't think beyond their immediate vicinity, both physically and chronologically. And I actually envy that. I wish my own mind could be that simple, because people who are like that are actually a lot happier. There's a lot of beauty to simplicity. And my best
Yeah.
friend is like that, and I envy that about him. And I'm surprised.
Ignorance is bliss.
I'm surprised he and I are
sometimes.
best friends because we're so different in this way. But someone's got to do it. Someone has to bear the burden. Our faith kind of revolves around such a story. Someone has to do it. And not everyone's qualified for it.
Yeah.
Funny how these things are
Oh.
true across so many different categories. What?
Regarding the Andrew Wilson debate, that's the tactic that he was doing was literally something my mom was doing earlier. It's like
He's a
expecting me
feminist.
to
He's feminine. Like when he couldn't open the
expecting me
jar.
to have my source.
Do you guys remember when he couldn't open the jar
I do.
on the
to be
whatever
fair, I don't
podcast?
think I could have opened that either. But
Yeah,
again, I
neither
have
could
my
I.
own reasons.
My point being,
I'm a pretty strong guy.
my point being,
I can't do that.
so much of the internet was like, oh, look at this alpha male. You don't look so alpha male now. And I was like, first of all, people, he never said he was an alpha male. he doesn't
people are
pretend to
fucking
be.
stupid.
But after that debate with him, I realized you're not just not an alpha male. I think you're actually a lot more feminine than you are masculine. The tactics you used against me were entirely feminine. And you know, there's the whole fact that your wife is a public figure. You wanted to marry someone older than you, who already had kids, by the way. Like, you really examine him, not physically, of course, but just as a person, his character, you realize Andrew Wilson was always feminine. So why does he have so many right-wing talking points? Because it's a trend or something? Does he see which way the wind is blowing? What's with this guy? Why is he so feminine deep down, but he has right-wing talking points? What's he up to?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
So anyway, I wanted to take this opportunity. I think we're running out of things to talk about. Wanted to take this opportunity to say I'm really excited for my next, let's see, 3 or 4 musings videos. If you guys in the audience really liked my Sarah Stock video, which apparently a shitload of people did, you'll really like what I got coming next. It's not going to be current event stuff. It's not going to be like, this just happened in the news stuff, but it'll be on that plane. It'll be at that level, though.
Alrighty. Who's it gonna be on? That's what I'm wondering.
Oh, you assume it's just going to be on a somebody.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. It's gonna be
I mean,
on
I don't know what
multiple
Archaeosophy is.
people.
I'm not even sure about that. I don't know what he's cooking up, but I know it's definitely not just, oh, hey, here's another
Actually, you know what?
takedown piece or anything.
Well, I mean, I do have a few takedowns, but I don't think it's any of the 3 or 4 that I have planned. Takedowns will come later, though. I'm actually going to start a series at some point. Maybe it'll just be an extension of musings, but I will just go through each right-wing figure I can think of and just thoroughly just tear them down. Like, this is why this person should not be taken seriously. This is why it's a waste of time to listen to them. We don't, like, my message being, we don't have leaders on the right, and I'm going to thoroughly explain why, one person at a time. I'll do that eventually, but that's not what I have in mind for the next 3 or 4 videos. I will reward the audience, though. Anyone who is still listening to the stream, I will reward you for doing so by telling you exactly what the next video is about. It's called...
Or if you listen, sorry to interrupt. I just want to say, because this is live and will still be on YouTube. If you stayed this long while we're live or for the VOD, here's your treat.
Yeah. The next video will be about why incels are actually the ultimate feminists.
Ooh. I'm looking forward to seeing where this is gonna go.
And I'm going to give a detailed, without, giving away any names, protecting certain people's privacy, of course, but I'm going to go into detail about my own history with women and why incels are the ultimate feminists because of what I learned from that. If you truly understand women firsthand, you'll realize, like, incels, for all they criticize women, they actually worship women. Because women are no prize. They are no prize.
I know my Kamiyoshi Undead Chronic. Like, I fully agree with him when he says, it's like, the pickup artists and the incels are they worship pussy. They just do it in different ways. They their whole lives are about the pursuit of pussy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, there's so much more to life than just the pursuit of pussy.
We wouldn't have civilization if pussy was really that special. Because otherwise we would still just be nothing as far as, like, development goes, and we would just be running around fucking if it was really that special. It isn't. There are much higher things to achieve, no matter what you believe. Even if you're not a Christian like most of us, I think we can all agree pussy is not worth pursuing. Frankly, I don't even know how people like Hugh Hefner devoted their entire lives to it. I don't even know how that's possible. That just sounds so exhausting. I think of sex as dessert. It's like dessert in a lot of ways. But do you just want to eat dessert all day, every day? No. Is it great? Yes. In proper increments. in proper servings, if you will. But all day, every day, just nothing but cake, ice cream, pies. Who would want that? And I think of women in the same regard. Who would want this all the time? The incels think they would want it all the time. No, you don't.
No.
No, you wouldn't.
No.
It's not that special. It really isn't. And it's going to sound like I'm bragging, like, "Hey guys, I've gotten laid so much." It's actually quite the opposite. I'm trying to tell you it's nothing special. That's the point. So anyway, that's what the next video is about.
I see.
I understand it. The reason people derive pleasure from it is it's a mechanism put into our biology by God as a positive reinforcement for doing that within the bounds of matrimony. That's how I understand it. That's where the pleasure element originates. At least
for
if we're
pair
using a
bonding.
religious argument.
It's for pair bonding and procreation.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only proper applications of it. The only ones. You can have...
And as we all know, the modern woman can't pair bond for shit.
Yes. And you can have 5 minutes of fun with, you stumble across some hottie and you guys, go find a restroom or something and you fuck. And then what happens after that? Once the 10 minutes of fun are over, then what? You might have gotten a disease, might have gotten her pregnant, but I can guarantee you the fun's over. That's the point. The fun's over. It doesn't last. Sex is supposed to be something that reinforces things that last, but sex itself does not. So anyway, that's the video. I don't know when it's going to be done though. My I don't know if I told you guys this, but my Sarah Stock video was made in a hell of a rush. It may not seem like that when you listen to it, but from coming up with the idea for it to filming it to editing it and posting it, that entire process was, I think it was like 8 hours.
Came out not too long after the drama itself got kicked up, so
Pretty much, yeah.
I was quite surprised to see it get a notification for it so soon. Like, oh, holy crap, Ark's talking about this already.
I didn't want it to be old news by the time I usually, like the pace that I usually work at, because I don't do this for a living. I make no money doing this. So, I usually don't dedicate all of my energy into making these videos. I just make them as I can with a fair amount of relaxation and fitting into my schedule and all that shit. But with this, I was like, well, if I want the message to stick, I need to get this done before I go to sleep. Absolutely get every step of the way done before I go to sleep. And I did it. I sacrificed a lot of sleep for it, but I did it. All because I didn't want it to become old news by the time I would usually be done with it.
I see.
And for something so rushed, I'm surprised it was so positively received.
Honestly, it didn't really sound all that rushed to me. It just shows that you're better at articulating stuff than I am.
I'll definitely give it to you too. I'm not great at articulating things either.
Well, I guess I was just meant to do it then.
So
all
it
this
would
time, I should have realized this is what I meant to do. Just bitch about things through a mic.
Well, at least for now, because if that is all you end up doing, then you risk falling into the trap of all these other personalities
Well, I'll never be
that we
fake.
complain about on a regular.
I can't
Well,
imagine
that's
having an empty shell of an existence. Like I just exist to just say the talking points. Whenever I think of that, like people who do that, I think of like Benny Johnson. Like, what are you for? What are you for? Some people just they really have nothing to contribute, but they contribute anyway. Just
Yeah,
empty
and somehow they
shell.
get popular doing
There is
doing so.
nothing going on in
Rev
there.
says Desu.
Yeah, there's a lot of examples. I will never allow myself to be
I can
that.
name too many. I can name too many people who just say talking points and yet have tons of
Oh.
tons of followers. Probably a bunch of dumb goyim, but
For the record,
Oh,
for the
God.
record, Isabella Moody is absolutely a whore. Like,
yeah,
there hasn't been a scandal
Sure
yet.
indeed.
There hasn't been any like leak of information yet, but just I was more certain about her being a whore than I was about Sarah Stock. Isabella Moody, I'm just
Get
like,
to it, Milo.
you're not even good at hiding it. You are absolutely a whore behind closed doors and off screen. There is no doubt in my mind. I can't prove it. I don't have any evidence, but I'm good at reading people. There's no way you're not a whore, bitch.
You know who you guys are talking about.
Good.
I know.
Keep
who
it that
who
way.
Ark
If
talking
you don't
about.
know, just keep it that way. You're not missing anything.
Well, I already I mean, you just said it less than a moment ago, and I already forgot the name. So
Good for you.
I don't know. So have I ever told you guys that I was a lurker in a lot of these anti-woke communities at some point? Now, mind you, I
Oh.
never really followed a lot of these personalities because I didn't understand that this was the issue, but I eventually recognized that, yeah, they're all repeating the same talking points. But I did hang around that. Oh, gosh. So I grew up, and I thank God very much that my parents raised me this way. I did not grow up on the internet. As a matter of fact, I didn't really have what I would call free internet access aside from the limited time I made for myself at school. I didn't have that until I moved out for the first time. And so I ended up learning about a lot of the things that kids my age would have been exposed to. I ended up learning about some of that in hindsight. But while I was on the internet, I did end up running into. There's actually a whole nother story to this, but it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about here. But basically, I end up following content creators like Nerdrotic, Hills versus Babyface, Geeks and Gamers. If you guys know who any of them are.
I do. I know all of them.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I was a lurker in that crowd for a good few years up until early last year. I worked at a GameStop for a brief period of time, and I saw firsthand just how all their cheerleading and their self-gratulating did not align to what the average consumer was concerned with. And I think that's when I started on this topic of of the personality Skirt brought up. That's when it really hit me that, oh, okay, you guys really are in this bubble. You guys aren't affecting jack shit.
Yeah.
Basically, it's all just bluster. It's all bluster. And only time that they really make an impact is if something is like so far, like if a game is like so far left, nobody was gonna buy it anyways.
No, I do actually remember one of the things, and I do remember this being a reason why I would watch some of the shows often as I do, and maybe this says something about me, but I do find their bantering funny. I'll even admit that as much as I don't really watch those type of content creators anymore, I'll admit they were funny. But other than that, it's like when we one of the times we've brought up Andrew Wilson, like, okay, great, you're a debater.
Now what?
What other use are you? Now what? That's basically this. Like, okay, yeah, you guys are funny. I'll give you that. The way you guys banter, but What else you doing?
Yep.
What are you doing?
That was my whole point with the I am the only real right winger influencer, right wing influencer. I can't talk. That was the whole point of that. And one of the comments, you guys can check it out, you'll see it. One of the comments was like, "Oh, so what you're saying is that everyone sucks but you, and you're just so awesome," or some childish bullshit like
I'm
that.
actually gonna go find it.
that's
I'm
a-
gonna go find it because I want
That's
to
a bunch
read
of
this.
feminine nonsense right
I
there.
want
get
to
this
read
all
this.
the time from
I
my
bet
mom.
that
every
was
time
written
I
by a
even
guy.
display a remote bit of knowledge.
I bet that was written by a guy, a very feminine sounding guy,
Yeah,
like Brian
Yeah,
Shapiro.
that-
Just you're basically just you're spiritually a woman. You came out the wrong way. Maybe you should trans up or something. Okay, I don't mean that literally. I don't mean that literally.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
some men are like, why aren't you a woman? Why did you come out like a man when you're nothing like one?
I'm trying to find which video this was under. Oh, okay, yeah, it was under your amalgamite video. Here,
No.
I'll read it.
Oh wait, was it? I thought it was under the one with Andrew Wilson and
I
Nick
thought so
Fuentes.
too. I thought so too. That's the one I checked and I wasn't finding it. So that's when I thought, oh hey, wait a minute, it might
Oh,
actually be
I guess
okay. I would have thought if you're gonna make that kind of comment, assuming you've seen both videos, that you would do so under that one. But no, it's under here. And he says, so let me get this straight. Every single other right winger is fake except you. And not only should we not bother talking to them, but we shouldn't talk to anyone of an entire sex either. You're the only real right winger, and everyone else is wrong. Sure, you think being a right winger means talking down on women, not letting them talk, and especially not listening. Dude, the problem is everyone else, it's you. And I read it exactly that way because that's how he typed it.
Wah,
Grammar,
wah,
people.
wah.
Freaking grammar people. The problem is everyone else. It's you. Yeah, thanks, dude.
I totally added something there. Okay, I was actually gonna say something a bit too far.
You know what? I'll even I like playing these kind of games. Let's just assume the problem is Archaeosophy himself. Okay? Let's pretend for a moment that's the case. You see anyone else stepping up? Crickets.
Crickets.
Yeah, nobody else wants to
I don't
step
see
up.
anyone else either.
Like at the
See
moment,
anyone else doing anything?
I'm not even saying this, like, I'm not saying this will last forever, but at the moment, while my audience is microscopic, and no one else is stepping up, we have no one who's actually trying. Until then, until like my following becomes far greater, I'm pretty much immune to criticism. Because I have that excuse of, yeah, who else is trying anything? Who else is stepping up? Yeah, you have nothing to say because I'm the only one who's trying. So fuck off.
Or do it yourself.
I don't mean that
think I even
completely
said
literally, by the way. Yeah, go ahead.
I think I said as much when I first pitched Triarchism to you guys, when I was throwing my hat in the ring as being open to being a potential leader as well. Just don't let me be the, and in this case it's you since I'm following you. Don't let Ark be the only one doing this. By all means, please, people, step up. But where they're at.
I've never
Where the people
discouraged it.
stepping up at?
I've never discouraged it. I've never said like, hey, just me, people. Just focus on me. I've never said that. It's just no one else will fucking do it.
Man, that your amalgamite video, I liked that one too, because I was actually talking with another friend of mine earlier today about this and mentioned your video on her, I think, and just the purpose of women in the broader right wing movement. It was actually a really good conversation.
Honestly,
And
I don't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And basically, it's just like he actually pushed back on something that I said regarding it's like, they're just good for morale, if anything. He actually pushed back on that. It's just like how far, like, I think he said something. It's like fuck, I forget, but he did push back on my assertion, and I found that really interesting. It's like, Yeah, maybe we also need to vet who should be providing morale too at that rate.
I can't make this comparison enough. What's the first story in the Bible? The first story in the
Book of
Bible is
Genesis.
a woman fucking everything up via the devil, serpent. Well, I guess it's still debated heavily if that was the devil, but the serpent did not need to get to Adam. He only needed to get through Eve. That was the barrier. Just if it's just a man, you have a lot more work ahead of you. But women are men's weakness. You want to get to men, you want to destroy them, do it through women. Far easier. And I see that playing out pretty much every day of my life now. Women on the right who need to shut the fuck up. Every single one of them need to shut the fuck up. But we have so many of them, and none of them will shut the fuck up unless they get caught in a scandal. Bad idea, guys. They are no gatekeepers. They are no vanguard. They're just there to play make-believe. Look how special I am. Because they have the minds of children. That's all they're doing. It's all about self-importance. It's all about, look at me, I'm so special. Meanwhile, the right is not the least bit formidable. And it is because of the women in our ranks. No doubt about it. It's because of them. We need to tell all of them to shut up. Get out of the way.
Literally go do anything other than politics. Honestly, I think so much of the contention between men and women just really comes down to people from either of the sexes trying to be in roles in which they don't belong. I think that's where the
Yep.
overwhelming part of the conflict with each other comes through. Because I'm of the opinion that women can excel at things that have nothing to do with holding power.
Of course they can.
Cooking or baking and
I'd
child
go
rearing
even.
is debatable.
Oh, Kirby, I'd go even further. I think women can even be. They can be good writers. They can be good musicians. They can be good all sorts of things. But
Everyone knows my
you don't
favorite
give 'em-
band has a female lead singer.
has had female lead singers consistently. Yeah. So of course there's a place for men and women nearly everywhere. And so much as both sexes remember their roles and where they can't go. Everyone on our side is clearly against something like men being troons in women's sports, which women's sports is probably a whole nother conversation. But in any case, everyone even remotely conservative recognizes that, hey, letting men dress up as women compete against women in sports is a retarded idea. But too many of us insist, as much as that's starting to die down, that we took it seriously. As a culture, we took that discussion seriously. If that's not an indictment of where we are as a civilization, that we honestly engage in conversations so stupid as whether or not a man can dress as a woman and physically compete against other women.
That's the kind of shit you'd expect to see in like fucking Weimar Germany. We're living through it though, so.
Yeah, no. If I ever became the ruler of the world, I would make sure mankind never forgot that. I would actually hang that over the heads of all mankind. There was a point, twice at least in our history, where so many of us genuinely believed it was a good idea to pit men against women in sports, but to dress the men up as women, so that way they're not actually men. No.
And castrate them a little.
Oh yeah, that too.
Honestly, if we just made all of the conservative women just shut the fuck up, most of our problems would fly out the window overnight.
Yeah.
That
No,
would get the
really,
ball
fine.
rolling like nothing else. And I think from now on, this is my greatest proof that conservatives are left wing. Because even the thought of stripping women of their power is offensive to them. Like there you go. Conservatives are left wing. You're
And
leftist
really,
too.
and that's all we argue. Really, when you think about it, as far as what a woman's role is society, it's to not have the same kind of power that men we are built to wield.
You know what?
That's it.
You know what's
That
even
is,
worse
that is
about this? It's actually I just realized it's even worse. Because the thing is, like, a lot of conservatives would actually say, like, oh yeah, like, yeah, women probably shouldn't be, leading armies or governments, but they should have rights. And
The whole concept of
that's the
rights.
funnel. That's that's how power gets back in. That's how they keep it. Like, oh no, we gotta let them keep their rights though.
Rights are fucking
which is
stupid.
which is how they got power in the first place, you dumb fucks. That they're basically one and the same, basically. If you don't think they should have power, they shouldn't have rights. I mean, I think rights is a stupid concept in and of itself, but that's another subject.
Arch, you're gonna piss off another VTuber I was about to start an argument with. Big Papa Lemon, he's very much I can't believe saying I believe in human rights is a controversial statement. It's like, well, you see the consequences of well, I mean, can you not see the consequences of what happens when you give everyone these things that are meant for for citizens, and you also like to discount who grants you the the things the government can't do to you.
the way I understand rights is in practice, they're basically they're privileges.
Ultimately,
And really that's the conversation we should be
at least
having.
in
Which
at least in
which
secular societies, they're their
pri-
privileges.
sure, but that's really the conversation to be having is what privileges do people not need? And we could go through a whole list of things like the privilege to determine who's in charge. Oh no, not even
No.
not even okay, maybe you should. No, 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 no. You don't get to determine who runs the nation. Your household, yes. Your property, your business, okay, that's fine. That's, well, I guess even then that can be argued. But in any case, people have roles that, when left just to nature, we fill naturally. But we've removed ourselves from nature, and we're
Yeah,
suffering the
Ted Kaczynski
consequences
was
of
right.
that. Good old Uncle Ted. By the way, did anyone else see that one of the people he had sent a bomb to was on the Epstein list?
I did not know that.
I have
Okay.
I'd have to go back and find who that was, but allegedly, I have to for legal reasons. Allegedly, one of the people who he had sent a bomb to was on the list.
Holy shit tamale.
I don't think I have to tell you his ethnicity either.
You know, this is going to be a whole other subject, just watch, but I've been thinking on and off about those people, and I've kind of been thinking about the correlation between Christianity and them. And I heard one person phrase it. I don't remember who, but someone on Twitter, or maybe someone quoted someone on Twitter. I don't know. But anyway, I've heard it said Christianity is not, how'd they say it? that Christianity is not. I'm going to butcher it. I'm not even going to try. But basically, the point is that proper Judaism is Christianity, but the Judaism that we think of is a complete bastardization. I don't remember the quote, so I'm just paraphrasing it.
That fucking hurts my brain.
But point is, it's like I've always had this opinion. You know, I grew up Protestant, you know, so I've had many years to think about this. I've always known of the connection between the two, but I've always just thought of it as like God made a promise to Abraham, and the Jews just happen to be his descendants. But it's happenstance. It's not like like there was ever anything special in their blood or anything like that. And then the Old Testament is basically entirely about how they just keep fucking up all the time. So much for the atheist argument of like, you know, your God is a reflection of you. Like, well, I mean, the Bible is basically nothing but, hey, my people keep fucking up. So much for that argument.
The Testament's also about Christ as well. Actually, it's mainly about Christ.
You know what?
But my point is like they're just simply the descendants of the one who was actually special, which is Abraham. And Paul said it himself, it was never about their bloodline anyway. It was about the covenant that was supposed to be carried on through his blood, but the blood was not his blood was not the point. It was the covenant. And it changed when Christ came. So, yeah, it got to their head, also, is my point. Like, the reason that they are still everywhere, the reason that they're still around, all that stuff, they were at least the carriers of the covenant. They were God's chosen people in that regard. That, you know, that's why they were a special people, at least by happenstance. But that's all they had going for them up until Christ came and basically, well, you guys aren't special anymore. And now ever since then, they've just been like, but wait a minute, we're supposed to be special. Like, no. You missed the point. You blew it. Yeah, that's the only reason you're still relevant. Because you used to be, like, you were supposed to be, but no. You missed the point. You didn't understand the assignment. That's how I see it anyway.
And regarding that, or continuing off that, the religion that Abraham practiced was not Judaism. People,
I was going to mention that.
It goes by, it doesn't really have a name. I like to call it Abrahamism, but
I just call it Hebrewism. And I remember we even talked about this. Yeah. We talked about this last year during the King's Council where we actually dedicated a whole, I think we streamed it. Or maybe it was one of the ones we released in full. I don't remember right away. But we actually went into that a little bit where to even say that, to even call it Judaism is just, it's incorrect. It's a misnomer. In the same way that it is to say that all the people in the Bible were Jews, because the origin of the word Jew, at least the most charitable one I can accept, is a translation of one being of the descendant of Judah, one of Jacob's 12 sons. Jacob being the son of Isaac, being the son of Abraham. And so when you say it's Judaism, you're making the claim that they're practicing a religion that predates the person by which it's named. It's just incorrect.
Yep.
Then I've given my thoughts here and there about some of the more speculative matters as to how much of them is actually being of the people, but It is. I'll admit it's irrelevant, at least as far as the Covenant's concerned.
Yeah, I didn't want it to be a whole
Yeah, I
other
got you.
subject we talk about. I just had to get that out of my system. Like they were never special the way everyone, literally everyone, seems to think. Like they were never that. They they misinterpreted how they were supposed to be special.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
But the most important question we need to be asking ourselves at Grok, is this true?
Uh, it's funny it's called Grok, given the caveman meme I've been seeing of literally just like a Neanderthal looking at a rock plucked from a stream or something like, rock? Rock, is this true? Give me knowledge, rock.
Grok, is true? Is this true?
We were talking earlier about there being a use for AI. As far as AI being a tool is concerned, that's an example of. I'd say it's people not knowing how to utilize a tool to its best of purposes. Like, tools of any kind, they have manufacturers who create tools different ways, and these AI, these artificial intelligences, same principle. We kind of went over the programmers as well, but there's limitations set either intentionally or innately by who is programming the AI. My point is, it's not smart to just go to an AI and well,
and
really,
assume
you can make this argument.
Assume that it has the best intentions for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's not not the wisest idea.
When I was a kid,
Will Stancil about that.
When I was a kid, we had this website called Ask Jeeves. And that's how I use AI. I just kind of treat it as Ask Jeeves. Like Ask Jeeves was just you type in a search bar a question and he does his best to answer it. That's it.
It's just a database to me.
And Google kind of replaced that. Like it I think it even bought it became ask.com and then it just got defunct entirely. And Google replaced it with itself. But that's the limit, in my opinion. That is the limit as to like how seriously AI should be taken. Just hey, what's in the database? Show me what's in the database, and I'll take it from there. It should not be your be all end all, and just the fact that people are even like marrying it now, just holy shit. But it just reinforces people need to be told what to do because no one knows what the fuck they're doing.
I'm pretty sure we've been warned about that for decades as well.
There's no point to warning people. There's no point in most of the things we do to try to prevent bad things from happening. There's no point. Because in the end, power is the one that decides everything. We're all waiting for the ultimate power to fix literally everything. But until then, we have to do what we can, but with power. Without power, just what's even the point of any of it? And that's the core of why I am trying to rise. We don't have leaders on the right. We need them. We need them. So you want something to happen, give someone your power. I know it's a strange analogy or it's a strange comparison, but Shiloh Hendricks. You know, that's a perfect example of one person, you know, and being surrounded by thousands of others who give this person a little bit of what they have to give, and this person rose. You know, all she needed was, you know, to move, you know, probably private security, attorney fees, that kind of thing. But people surrounded her and gave them gave her their power to do so. We can do that with actual power. That's where the elites get their power anyway. Like, we can do it with a random woman who says the N-word. Why can't we do it with, you know, like something real, something that needs to be done for everybody?
The problem
Yeah.
is, Archaeosophy, I've heard that you can't actually do anything because the elites control everything and they have all the power.
Yes.
Oy vey, what are you implying?
I was actually poking fun at something very different, but I guess
Yeah,
that's
we
also
don't need
funny
to
to
get into that.
remember.
We don't need to get into that. Well, guys, I'm running out of steam, so let's just call it a
Yeah,
day.
so am I.
Me
Yep.
3.
Good talk, though. We'll hopefully try to finish that fucking debate later. Maybe.
We can always do it in portions.
Yeah. All right. Well, to anyone who might, for some reason, still be listening, please subscribe. Check out my other videos. Subscribe to Scurvy. Subscribe to White Supremacy. And
If you're on Rumble.
yeah, on Rumble. You'll also see his videos on my channel.